What's up, losers? Today I'm back with some more r/fatlogic mischief. Checking out a couple of interesting or amusing posts, sharing my opinions on them, and throwing in a fair smattering of jokes for good measure. This is episode 143 in the fatlogic series. And I've got some quality posts lined up for this one. So without further preamble, let's get into it.
Just a reminder that sharing before and after photos/videos where there is weight loss is harmful. When a failed fat person, aka a fat person who is now thin, creates content that reinforces anti-fatness, it negatively impacts everyone around them, especially their fat friends and community. Formerly fat people often fall into the fat phobia that had been pushed onto them by suggesting that their former fat self is no longer with them now that they're thin. Power is a hell of a thing. When people gain access to power that they never had before, aka thin privilege, they begin to enact the harm they once felt onto others, as an act of power difference. If they cheat on their fat former self, then they can show they are no longer tied or linked to fatness. Some formerly fat people simply do it out of resentment that their weight loss did not give them everything they thought it would, i.e. complete happiness with their body. Here's a general reminder for all of us. How you talk about your body in front of others, online, and in public, impacts the people who intentionally and unintentionally hear you. The excuse of, "That's just how I feel about my own body," doesn't stop the hurt from happening. If you want to talk about your negative body feelings, ask permission first, and understand your positionality. Hot tip: don't post before and after content. Period. But since I can't control people's actions, don't do it unless you're ready for the impact it will have on the people who will see it. Think about the language you use, the impact it will have, and what you're trying to do by sharing these things with others. What's your goal?
Ha ha, what? Thin people who used to be fat are failed fat people, are they? That's a novel way of looking at things. Doesn't make any damn sense. Mind you, but it sure is a unique perspective. I suppose people who quit smoking so that they won't get lung cancer are failed smokers, too, and people who kick the drug habits are failed addicts. Makes sense. Let's just romanticize self-destructive habits, and shame people for getting rid of them. That seems like a good idea. I see absolutely no downside. Terrific. No, but in all seriousness, even without going into how harmful obesity is, and how weight loss should be encouraged and not demonized, it still wouldn't make sense to call people who lose weight failed fat people. Because for one thing, they aren't fat, they used to be fat. But they aren't anymore. Fatness was never an innate quality of theirs, as their weight loss success demonstrates. And by losing weight, they have very clearly shed this identity. If you, as a fat person who refuses to lose weight, want to continue to cling onto them, and assert their ongoing membership in the fat community, or whatever you call it, then that's up to you. But if you ask me, it's just making you look desperate, like a jealous ex-girlfriend or something. So that's not a great look, haha. On top of all that, it's not failure for these people to lose weight. Because newsflash, they never wanted to be fat in the first place. For you to dub them a failure, based on their refusal to live their lives according to your personal standards, is supremely egotistical, and once again, not a good look at all. So yeah, on the whole, failed fat people point. What can I say? I think it's this post that's the real failure, both in substance and in optics. But that's just my opinion. As for the rest of the post, I don't have too much to say, because before and after pictures, internalized fatphobia, thin privilege, and whatnot, are all pretty well-worn discussion points. And I'm sure I've talked about them in a bunch of other videos already. In short, my position is that people are allowed to post before and after pictures, and talk about their bodies however they please. And fat activists need to stop holding everyone else responsible for their own fragile self-image. Radical take, I know. The one other thing that stood out to me as particularly noteworthy about this post is the suggestion that thin people should ask permission from fat people before they talk about the negative feelings towards their bodies. And the reason this suggestion stood out to me is because it's just really damn weird. Like, can you imagine how awkward it would be to do that? I'm imagining a scene something like, "Oh, hi Rebecca. I wanted to make a comment about how overweight I am. And how I wish I could lose weight. But I know that you're way fatter than I am. So I wouldn't want to say anything that might upset you. Is it okay if I go ahead anyway?" If you did that, wouldn't you be letting the cat out of the bag anyway? And drawing a whole lot of extra attention to how fat she is? Because it sure seems that way to me, haha. I swear, man, some of these fat activists really have no social skills whatsoever. It's honestly painful to watch. Though the laughs make it worthwhile. But at any rate, I've gone on about this one for long enough. Let's move on to the next post.
The setpoint theory. The setpoint theory hypothesizes that our brains regulate our metabolism to maintain a certain body weight and level of body fat. 1. Everyone's setpoint is unique. 2. Your body's setpoint is determined by your genes. 3. Your body's setpoint is more like a setpoint range of body weights and body fat levels at which it can sit comfortably and sustainably. 4. Your setpoint range is the range in which your body functions most optimally. Setpoint, weight loss, new, higher setpoint, weight loss, new, even higher setpoint. Your body knows where it is most comfortable. Hashtag setpoint theory. Hashtag anti-diet. Hashtag anti-diet culture. Hashtag setpoint. Hashtag unique. Hashtag metabolism. Hashtag health at every size. Hashtag haze. Hashtag body acceptance. The reason why 95% of people who diet regain weight. And often a bit more for extra measure. Within 1 to 5 years.
Wait. So it's called setpoint theory. But it's not set, because it moves up every time you go on a diet. And it's not a point, either. It's a range. Forgive me, but why are we calling it setpoint theory then? I can't be the only one scratching my head here. Right. It's just not adding up. In fact, it almost seems like the whole setpoint concept is whatever fat activists need it to be at any given time. To rationalize away their own obesity, its relationship to diet, and its associated medical risk factors. But that can't be right. I must have misunderstood somehow. Dropping the sarcasm for a moment though, this post really is rather confused. Isn't it? I mean, even setting aside the glaring contradictions that I've already identified, it doesn't make much sense to me that one's setpoint can be genetically determined, if it goes up every time you lose weight and put it back on. Like, that isn't a genetic factor. And it doesn't line up with the whole optimal performance range claim either, because why would temporary weight loss move your genetically determined optimal weight range upwards? It doesn't make sense. And perhaps more damningly, it's very obviously just a theory that has been constructed after the fact to justify people's patterns of weight loss and subsequent weight gain, rather than any kind of objective appraisal of things as they are. Fat activists don't want to accept responsibility for their initial results being undone by their failure to maintain healthy habits. So they come up with this nonsense about their setpoint moving up as a result of the diet, so that they can blame diet culture, or fat phobia, or whatever, for making them fatter, rather than just owning up to their lack of discipline. It's agonizingly transparent, and I'm left to wonder, as I so often am in these videos, just who it is that they think they're kidding with this sheet. Because it's sure not fooling me, and I doubt it's fooling many of you guys either. Size. How exhausting.
Consider how your fitness e-profile on the apps might come off to a fat person. when you're on the apps. I don't know how to describe this to thin people, but fat people have a sixth sense for detecting fatphobic dates. A person that I have a hunch is going to be fatphobic will usually be obsessed with fitness on their profile. If all of their pics are flexing or gym pics, or they list their weight and height on their profile, they're letting you know that that's important to them. This isn't to say you can't be proud of your body on your profile, just that it can send an unintended message to some people.
Haha, 2 comments on this one. First, it's not really a sixth sense for you to be able to identify these profiles. Because if they're putting a bunch of pictures of themselves flexing and shit, it's pretty damn obvious that they're into that kind of thing. And considering that you guys view placing any value on physical fitness to be tantamount to fatphobia, it doesn't require some kind of superhuman intuition for you to deduce that the owners of these profiles are going to be fatphobic, according to your ridiculous standards. It just requires, I don't know, an ultra-heightened sense of insecurity. Which, when I put it like that, actually does sound like a kind of superpower. Not a useful one, admittedly, but definitely something. So I guess I'll concede on that one, haha. Maybe fat activists really are superheroes. And second, I hate to break it to you guys, but I highly doubt that any of these guys are going to lose sleep over not matching with you on a dating app. Peculiar superpowers notwithstanding, you're really not that much of a catch. And I can only speak for myself here. But going on a date with a militant fat activist honestly sounds like something out of a nightmare. So yeah, thanks for the warning, and I wish you the best of luck on your romantic journey. But I think we'll be okay looking for that special someone elsewhere. Nothing personal. Well, that's all I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed reading through these posts with me, and that my commentary didn't bore you too terribly. What do you think? Are fat people who lose weight to become thin failed fat people? Does it make sense to have a set point that isn't actually set, and isn't actually a point? Should people with fitness-based dating profiles change them up to avoid scaring away the fat activists? Let me know in the comments. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, or I'll feed you a radioactive cheeseburger, and you'll turn into Fat Man, a totally cool, and not at all desperate superhero, with the power of unlimited insecurity. Just kidding, haha. Anyway, catch you later.